So you gotta end on a better note than that, right? So we're gonna end tonight with something extremely special to me and to all of us, right? This year, in a little over 3 years of working with men, this organization hit its 50th graduate already. And that was a huge milestone for us. At some point, you think that's a number you're never gonna reach, and then you reach it as quickly as you did, and then you realize we're already surpassing that number in ways that it's kind of hard to fathom right now. But we want to stop in this moment and make sure that we honor the men and their journey. So right now, me and Mark are gonna interview, come on up here, Josh. Josh Broadwater is our very first graduate. His video, yep. You're gonna hear his video is the first one that goes live tomorrow. Make sure you watch it. That was a fun little series to do, to walk through that with Josh. But also, we have our 50th here. Kevin, come on up, Kevin. So we want to talk to y'all a little bit about this journey. I think, to me, this is such a cool moment. When Doug and I were first talking about doing something, you're thinking, man, I mean, are we ever going to get to the kind of volume you want to have at this? And then all of a sudden, it just kind of took off so fast. And so it's been cool to kind of hear y'all's journey. So a little bit about, I'll let Mark take it from here.
Yeah, so Josh, I want to start with you.
Yes, sir.
So you were the second trainee that was enrolled,
Right.
and our first graduate. So what were some of the challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome them when you came in?
Really, the first challenge was actually being able to trust people. I had spent so many years of my life, building walls and only letting people so close because I didn't want them to really know who I was. So just being able to, first of all, with Doug, I remember it wasn't 2 weeks before I got to North Georgia Works, I was walking downtown with Tommy, and Tommy said, I don't really know about this program, but, I trust Doug. And just from that, then beginning to, create that relationship with Doug, just showed me that I could trust people and that there were people out there that really cared about me.
Yeah, yeah. So early on, when you came in, you were already working with Americold, and still are with.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, still with Americold. And most of the guys, or all the guys, when they come in the program, most of them, of course, they haven't had a job in a while, and so we find business partners that kind of fit their skill set and place them with those guys, place them with those business partners, and hopefully all of that works out. So when you came in, you had to make some sacrifices because we tried to bring Americold in as a business partner, and I think they were bigger than us, and they didn't see the value, I don't think, at that time. But you had to make some sacrifices when you came in there. Tell them about what some of those sacrifices were.
Yeah, first of all, the money deal. Like you said, I was already working at Americold. I think at that time I was making like $10.50 an hour, and then I was hit with, well, now I'm going to be making $7.50 of that. And in the beginning, I kind of had a problem with it. But, again, as Doug put it across to me, that was allowing me to learn to live off of less, and that I was learning to live off of $7.50 an hour. So now that I make a lot more than that, I still understand how to live off of $7.50 an hour. So that's why my checking account and my savings account is still in place now and has money in both because of what that taught me.
Yeah, that's a great point too, and because I know a lot of time the guys get upset over the years as they've come through the program about the rate, right. but you learned a valuable lesson in that learning how to budget. Yes, and manage that money was a huge thing. You made some more sacrifices as well, because you had somebody on the other side you had your eyes on.
Yeah. Now, when I was at North Georgia Works, we didn't have visitation or any weekends or anything. So, that whole year that I was at North Georgia Works, I only had, through video conversations with my son. That was really tough for me because of, a couple of things I went through before I got to North Georgia Works, just how I ended up having to leave him and whatnot. But again, as Doug was there and just poured into me and just, reassured me and told me that, even if I could have went back to him at that time, just spending time with him, it wouldn't be any different. So, to take that year and to better myself, and then when the time was right, I could go back to him and be the father that he needed.
Yeah, absolutely. And that you have done.
Yes, sir.
Very well. Kevin, tell a little about your history, how you got to North Georgia Works.
I was addicted for, 32 years of my life. Didn't care about nobody but myself. And I just knew it was time for change.
Now, we have a little bit different visitation policy now for you, right?
Yes.
I feel like every time I was coming in, Kevin worked a different schedule, so he got his visitation during the week, and I'd come in like, there he goes, family coming to pick him up, and he was gone again. He had a little bit easier than you, I think, a couple of ways, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yep. So what are some of your favorite things or your most memorable times while you were a trainee at North Georgia Works?
Definitely the leadership program there, being in it. The business partner, working for Builder Surplus for Butch Bennett has been a blessing for me. And family hope nights.
Has Butch taken you to Colorado yet?
It's coming.
Okay. Yeah. Not before I do, by the way. Thanks for that, but go ahead.
But like Hope time on Sundays. And I mean, that's the biggest thing. And when they were bringing the families in, that's what it did for me. It made me want to be there. I'm still there every Sunday, even though I'm graduated.
Yeah, that speaks volumes. A lot of times these things that maybe guys may take for granted or maybe didn't seem to be that important at the time, but yet it creates a foundation of faith and hope and trust in the Lord Jesus Christ. And as has been repeated multiple times tonight, that's the only way you're going to make it through is with him. So that's pretty awesome. So I ask you a question. I want you to think about it. And so just remembering what it took for you to complete the program, what word of wisdom or advice could you give and share with those that are coming up behind you and those that are going to be out there in the future?
Obedience is one of the things. The program's going to go through many changes, and you just got to go with it and be obedient to all the rules that are set in place. They're there for a reason, and it's to make your life better.
How about you, Josh? What kind of advice or wisdom would you share?
Just to not look at it at a big scale of, I have to do all this and stop all this and fix all these things. Just let it happen the way God designs it and allows it to happen. I know the guys can tell you the same thing. Things will happen every single day while you're in this environment, but it's only because God's teaching you something. And if you can see that, then every day you're going to learn something new that's helpful, and then you can apply that and just take it on from then.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great.
So, we have to talk about your kids, right? Now, me and you are going to talk a little. I don't want to bury the lead for our interview because that was a big part of what we talked about those 6 hours, right? But I think everybody around here, both of you, have some pretty good restoration stories with your family that probably a couple of years ago seemed like a pipe dream. So, we got to talk about Grayson. I know I always give you a chance to tell everybody that as much as you can because I think that's one of the coolest things in the world right there.
Yeah, which actually is sitting right over there. Everybody can see.
There he is. Hey, look at that. He's come out of his shell right now. Finally. Yeah. He's been around us long enough, right? Yeah. Clap for that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Before I got to North Georgia Works, it was not good. As you'll see watching the podcast, it just, the world had ripped me away from, my one only true thing in my life. And, when I first left them, I didn't know really what was going to happen, but then just after North Georgia Works, I get them like every other weekend, and it was just really hard, trying to be a dad and, Saturday and Sunday, and then having to send them back for a week or two, and then getting them back, just knowing that he wasn't going back to a good situation. But, you know, at the time, I just didn't have the means or just couldn't take them full time. But, you know, as God does, God continued to propel me forwards and put me in a better position. And then I was in a position to where I had the people around me and the means to bring them up here with me. And then God just made it happen. And now he's with me 24/7.
For me, as far as my daughter goes, I've got 2 grandchildren, and it's just not about me anymore. And I prove that day in and day out, and I see them just about every day now, as to where I was only getting to see them a little bit at a time. I mean, North Georgia work changes a man. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
So now, who's the better grandfather, you or Gary?
Me? You better say me, Kevin.
Well, gentlemen, listen. Yeah, you clap. I'm not going to stop you from clapping for that, but but you're excited over there. So Gary is a graduate of ours, by the way. He works with Butch as well. Gary worked for us for about a year as well, so this is close to him as well. But guys, I mean, listen. I know it's cliche to say things like this, but I mean, I don't think you can't handpick guys better. I mean, Josh, you were proof of concept to a county that didn't quite know what we were doing. It showed, you know, Doug was even able to show the world and me himself that, hey, listen, it would work in Hall County. Right. I tell the story all the time. When I met Doug downtown at Georgia Works, I thought he was crazy for doing it up here. So for me to have a guy that was doing as well as you were, is like, oh, so there is something here. And then, you know, you get close to the 50th and you start looking at some names and you're like, oh man, this is going to be interesting. And when it was you, Kevin, we were all, our whole staff was like, that's it, man. That's the guy. He's going to wear that with pride, and he's a lot of confidence in what you've done and what you're going to become. And so we're super proud of both of you, man. Guys, again, to all of y'all out here, 50 guys is a lot of men in a short period of time. These are men that guys have made complete transformations in their lives that were once kind of weighing on society. They're now giving back. Both these men already said they give back to each of our guys. They're paying it back, and I think every one of those men over there will say that to you. So I can't say enough about these guys, but I think all our men deserve one round of applause here as we wrap up here. Good.